as promised, I am following up with your wake up and your bedtime routines. It is just your life and transition coach through your inner vitality. And if you watched the first video with us in July in that tip, it was about setting your alarm clock 5 minutes earlier and filling that with something that you really enjoyed doing. I'd love to follow up to see how did that go, if you did do that, of course. Now, what I'd love to do though is dig in a little bit more and being mindful of your sleep as well during this process. So I wanted to start off with what I do in my morning routines and what I also do in my bedtime routines. So first thing in the morning, I don't even get out of bed. I just roll over and grab a book. So I am a huge book fiend. If any of you guys do know that, I love my reading. I love buying books, having books, sleeping with books. I just love my books. So I will read every morning, and that would be a minimum of about 10 minutes, but typically I spend about an hour reading. And then I go in and I dig into my gratitude journaling. So I do that every single day. I have been doing that for about 7 years, every day. And I journal or a gratitude for the day prior. I just find that for me, it's a really great way to get me into a good mindset of good things that happened the day prior so that I can help emulate that into my new day. From there, definitely can't live without my breakfast. So I prepare breakfast, and when the weather is beautiful, I am outside on my deck with my kitty cat, and we are enjoying the beautiful weather and the birds. I have tons of birds in my backyard, and our bunny and wildlife, and really just enjoying a nice breakfast out there. I will also do some creativity stuff, so whether that is goal setting or doodling or some creative release there that I will also do on the deck after my breakfast. And then I go into my gardening, which I love and I find it very therapeutic. And from there, it could mean going for a walk or a bit of a workout. It really just depends on my day. Now, I did tell you guys that my routine is about a solid 2.5 hours, and that very much is the case. And I would not sacrifice that for pretty much anything. Now, when it comes to my bedtime routine, so bedtime is a bit about spending a minute or two of prep work before going to bed. So typically I will make sure as a part of my morning routine, I will make my bed. If for some reason I couldn't do that, maybe, Brad's still sleeping, then I will make sure that I get to do that before I go into bed. There's nothing better than going into a nice made bed. I also put on aromatherapy, so my essential oils, again, a huge love of mine. Some top oils that I love for bedtime is lavender and lemongrass. And then I also love lavender and cedarwood. Those are really good too, I find, combinations. And I close the door behind me so then I make sure that the room smells beautiful and nice for when I'm ready to go to bed. So I'll go off, do the rest of my nighttime stuff that I need to do, and then when I come back into that room, it reminds me of a spa. And the last thing that I will typically do is I will read until my eyes drop. So whether that is half a page sometimes, or it could be a couple chapters, it is just a beautiful way for me to fall asleep. Meditation is a part of both of those routines, just depending on how much of it I'm needing. And I don't typically just have it for my morning and my bedtime routines, but if I do have them in there, it'll happen usually after I read first thing in the morning, and it'll happen before I read in going to bed. So those are my routines. I share them because those are mine. I don't expect you to follow my routines. I don't expect you to put the same amount of time or emphasis on them. It's really important that you put things in there that are important to you for that comfort, release, fill up your emotional bank account. These are things that are typically solitary. It could be drawing, it could be brushing and braiding your hair, it could be rubbing your feet or putting on cream that you really like. Um, it really is about things that make you feel good. Now, there should be some intention behind why you do your morning routines. So, understanding the reasons why you do it, it's giving you a purpose for those routines is also really important. Myself, as a coach, I find that I give a lot to my clients and my coaching practice. And in order to emotionally be there for each and every one of those clients, it's really important that I top myself up. So, my self care is absolute number one for me when it comes to this because I need to be at my best for you guys. And then I also need to have enough of that energy throughout the evening and the rest of my day for my family and my friends because it's really important for me that I'm also there for them too. Now, why I'm talking about your morning routines and your night routines, beautiful to have. One of the things that I find sometimes is when people do rant this, they're like, get up earlier and, be up at like the crack of dawn to get this done, and which is fine. But what I say, whatever you take from one, you have to put into another. And what I mean by that is your sleep. If you're getting up earlier in the morning, for myself, if I was to get up 2.5 hours earlier than what I do, I need to make sure that I'm putting back that sleep time somewhere else at night. That deep sleep that you get at night really helps with repair for the body. So your immune system, any injuries, colds, inflammation, that is when your body does the most work in repairing itself, and you don't want to rob it of its rest. So what I want you to be mindful of is when you're creating this routine and you're starting to carve out this time, I don't want it just to be your sleep time that you're taking this away from. If you have the luxury to push your appointments back throughout the day like I do, then go ahead and do that. But if you're going to take away from your morning routine, make sure you're going to bed earlier. So if you're getting up a half an hour earlier in the mornings to do this, give yourself an earlier bedtime of 30 minutes. So I'm going to give you that food for thought. And I'd love to make sure that you're building those routines in place. Healthy habits. My gratitude journaling, I've been doing that for about 7 years. My reading, it's probably been about closer to that amount of time too, at least 5 years. When it comes to the gardening, it's the same concept. Those routines have been embedded for a ton of time in my world. And I change and adapt them and add to it as I see fit. It doesn't always have to be the same. And there are times where I'll change it up because, you know what? It's my time. I get to do what I want with it. It's what makes me feel good. Let me know how this all goes. But until then, happy exploring. And may your morning and bedtime routines be beautiful. It is Jess, your life and transition coach, and we will chat soon.